Um, Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. This one, I'm already going to start crying on this one again. This is Faustina, and you and I started working together. I just had your chart up. I met you, and you were 36 years old, and it was December 2020. I'll just do a quick summary and we'll get into it. You came to me. You had been doing acupuncture since 2018. You were doing all the things. You were doing therapy, support groups, yoga, meditation. You did nutrition counseling, fertility coaching with another fertility coach, gratitude visualization. You reduced exposures to environmental toxins. So when she came to me, had already done, I would say, a lot. Your diagnosis at the time, low AMH, was 0.8. FSH was a 9. So I didn't think that was terribly low. But maybe for your age, I think that would be considered pretty low in the US too. Poor responder, poor egg quality. She was told she needed donor eggs. Hashimoto's, potentially somebody had picked up that maybe you had endometriosis, right? Because you had the elevated NK cells and some of the pro-inflammatory cytokines. TNF alpha, dysbiosis, you had some stomach stuff. And at the point when we met, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 IVFs. And let's see, 1, 2, 3 rendered no embryos, right? 1, you transferred 2 day 2s. And you had a blighted ovum. And then that was 2019. Then in the IVFs in 2020, you got no eggs, you were overstimulated. And then in August of 2020, 4 eggs, you transferred 1 3-day embryo. The other 2 embryos did not make it to blast, and you did not get pregnant. And you weren't taking anything for pregnancies, no baby aspirin, no nothing like that. And at the time you were on omega-3s, vitamin D, probiotic, CoQ10, B vitamin, methylfolate, zinc, some herbs. But I remember, and you were doing Kundalini yoga 7 days a week. And, I think, I don't know. I feel like now you share some. I mean, if you can go back to that period of time, so it's 2020, right? You've already been in this now 2 years, 6 failed IVFs, and yeah, I don't know. Go ahead, share some stuff.
Yeah. So, well, generally we started in 2017, so it was 6 years, quite a tough journey. So we started when I was 32, and quite quickly we went to fertility clinic. I lost my period, so I was like, okay, so let's just do all necessary testing, just not to waste our time. So quite quickly I knew that I have low IMH. And well, the doctors, everyone was like, oh, you need to rush, you are already 32, it's already too late. Then I lost again period for a couple of months.
What do you think was going on with the period? Was it I feel like I think that underweight, not eating enough, right?
Yeah, that's
that was
correct.
The biggest thing I did with you. Yeah,
that's correct. So it was really about weight. I was too skinny. My BMI was below 19.
Yeah.
So definitely, it's my hormones were completely unbalanced. So that was the problem. And so when I lost again, oops, I have a problem with.
It's okay.
So when I lost my period again, I was retested with IMH, and it was even lower. So at the time, it was 0.3.
Yeah, I remember it dropped.
And it was just a disaster, because at the time I was said, okay, this is premature ovarian failure. You will enter into menopause in several months. So it was really a shock. I was 32, and I thought, well, I have still 18 or 20 years to be in menopause. So it was really a shock. It was really shocking. So we were rushed to do IVF, and we did it. So it was like, doing IVF one after another, and so with no preparation, because we were, well, no one explained anything, what's really happening. Everyone, all the doctors said, well, you just need to do IVF because this is the only option, and actually the best would be to go directly to donor eggs. So yeah, that was really difficult. So at the time, I really needed support of psychology. So I spent a lot of time finding really a good therapist, and definitely it helped me. But this emotional piece, it really had a big impact on my journey, because just from the start I thought, okay, there is nothing you can do. You can just do IVF, but the likelihood is really minor. So yeah, this is just a waste of time. That was like some kind of conclusion out of many
Just tell me,
consultations
right
with the
before we
doctor.
went to record, you said to me, I'll never forget when you were leaving the
Yeah.
IVF clinic and what the doctor said to you.
Yeah, so it was when during the last visit, it was like, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of time. Well, just go for egg donation. Well, which is of course a brilliant option, but I was not ready to do it, and my intuition was that it may happen, but we just need to make to do it in a different way.
Yeah. And then
So
when we started working together, so I remember, one of the first things was your diet, right? I feel like that was a big shift for us, where I'll run through kind of what you were eating. She was doing oatmeal, and you had some good stuff in there, the chia and the seeds and the nut butter and the superfoods, coconut yogurt, but not a lot of protein. And then she was doing vegetable stews, gluten-free grains, legumes once or twice a week, or once per 2 weeks. Sorry, you'd have smoked salmon or cod, organic chicken, turkey once per 3 weeks, and then dark chocolate. And then dinner would be eggs or the smoked salmon, vegetables. So anyway, I would classify you as you were more vegetarian than not. And I have no opposition to vegetarians. I was one myself at one point in time. But in a situation like this, I'm trying to move my screen over. Sorry. It didn't seem like it was working for you, right? It was like,
yeah.
okay,
Well,
so go ahead.
I think that it really made a big difference when I introduced more proteins. I started to see that my cycle is really better. So my hormone levels were better. So that was also a bit, I was like, okay, it gave me more confidence, because I saw that when I saw that my cycle is improving, despite getting older, I was really more confident that we can do something about my hormones. 100%. So it was really a big difference.
Yeah. And even still too, you came to me. I mean, the other thing too, that with your case, and you had done a lot of additional testing already at that point. You had looked, because you had Hashimoto's and you had some iron and ferritin issues that I think you were like pretty on top of. But she had also, you looked into some of the clotting factor stuff, MTHFR. You had already looked into getting diagnosed for celiac, the KIR, PI1, right? So there was a lot that had already kind of been looked into. And like I said, she'd been working with some other, people, but you still weren't feeling good. You had earaches, skin problems, dry mouth, indigestion, stomachache, bloating, belching, mood swings, low libido, irritability, dry mouth during the day. Your cycle was irregular. And so I remember, we talked through, I was like, okay, can we add collagen peptides to the oatmeal? Can we add bone broth to the stews? Can we get 2 eggs in a day? Increase fish to 3 to 4 times a week. She also noticed, this was something interesting too, when I was reviewing your case before, that at one point before you worked with me, you had gone gluten-free and you went too low carb and you lost your period. So, for me then working with Faustina, I was like, okay, we got to make sure we always have good carbs in her diet, because we're not going to lose a period again. Right. And we never lost a period again, except for, we'll get to those, some of the pregnancies, but But and you did it. I said add an avocado in half of one a day, keep doing your ghee, add fish and eggs to dinner, keeping the grains, even if you have fermented rye, tahini, stay away from dairy and gluten except for the fermented rye, because you felt okay on that. And I also just did not want you, and at the time your cycles were 27 to 55 days. Your follicular phase would be really delayed. And then 1.5 years ago, when we first met in 2020, you had said you were vegan and your cycles got longer. So you kind of lost your cycles again. And then on the vegan diet, she felt okay, but the cycle got longer. And then, so that was kind of where we started. Then we did some food diaries. I was reading through all these, and I remember when you added in more fat, remember it was like hard for your body to digest. And
Yes, I remember that.
I think then we
I was
added
really
in,
frustrated.
yeah, you were so frustrated. So what did we do? We added in enzymes? I can't remember. Or did we cut back on some of the fat? I can't remember. Let me see. But either way, so we worked on diet, first of all, and some of the things too, I wanted to, let's see, and then, so by the time let's see, about 2 months later, your last 2 cycles, 36, 37 days. So you were getting more regular cycles. So one of the things, oh, right, you were doing the reboot with me at the time too. And so some of your limiting beliefs, like the irregular cycles, other women with AMH like mine, but they didn't have irregular cycles. And so I helped you shift it. My AMH is good, and other women can get pregnant with this AMH. So I'm not worried about it. Not worried we need to rush to IVF. Irregular cycles, delayed ovulation worries me. Women with irregular cycles can't get pregnant. So your biggest worry was your follicular phase. And so we focused on like healthy, good ovulation, journaling, dietary changes. And we had a lot of like, I feel ease with my diet. I feel ease with my supplements. I feel ease with movement, right? We shifted your focus to like, I feel ease with my morning practice. I feel ease with all these things I'm doing. I feel ease with IVF meds because that worked for other women in the same boat. And then I was really pushing for more immune testing too, because of the Hashimoto's. And let's see that. I know I'm going backwards in our thing, but we've revisited your red flags. They were getting better. Your antibodies were high. Your thyroid antibodies were 193 and 286. Homocysteine was decent, 7.8, 8.6, but a little higher than we wanted. And you had your Mira, you were doing that. Let's see. So then you went into, this is February 2021, you went into another IVF, 3 eggs retrieve. We'll wait to see about fertilization. We'll do a day 5 transfer. Never done that before. And let's see. And so then what happens there? Then you met with a reproductive immunologist over there, right? Or was it part of the fertility clinic you were working with? I can't remember that part.
That was already at the time. I think that when we started with immunologist, it was like probably like 5 years ago. So it was quite a long journey with immunologist as well. But the problem is that each time I got the same medication, and
they didn't change it at
there
all.
were some. The problem is that here, well, in Poland, in my country, that there is not. There are some limited doctors in the field. So still, this is really a field which is questioned a lot by fertility clinics. So that's also a problem, and there are some limitations when it comes to access to testing. So it changed over time, because actually, after miscarriage in 22, I could do some extra testing.
Right, they allowed it.
And then it turned out that I need IVIG, but that was also a problem, that there is really very limited number of doctors here who specialize in the field.
Yeah, so at the time you were about to do this transfer, you were doing Neupogen, right?
That's correct.
And you were doing steroids a blood thinner, like a
Baby
baby
aspirin.
aspirin. Yeah. And then progesterone, estradiol, right?
Yeah.
All the things, magnesium. That was, yeah, 5/19/2021. And um, do you remember, did you get pregnant with that transfer? I don't remember.
Yes, during this transfer we had a twin pregnancy,
That
but
was the twins.
unfortunately, we lost it at 8 weeks. So with it genetic testing, it turned out that both
They were normal.
embryos were normal.
And that's when I think we kind of upped the ante even more on the immunology piece, right? So, and then at that point too, you'd also done like the mini IVFs in June and July. You wound up with 0 blasts, got 3 eggs but no blasts. It stopped growing. It was a complete disaster what you had said to me. And we talked about not doing Menopur. And so at that point, it was 2022 September, 5 years, 9 egg retrievals. And then we talked about you switching from IVF since then at this point, I think we're right. Because at this point now, by 2022, you had that one pregnancy before you met me, that you miscarried in those 6 IVFs. And then you had the pregnancy with the twins, and we knew that they were genetically normal. And that was that the day 3 fresh transfer or the day 5 transfer?
It was day 5. It was day 5 fresh.
And so at that point, now we tested and now we knew, okay, both were actually normal. So she had 2 babies that she made normal. And she miscarries at 8 weeks. So there's something else going on from an immunological perspective. There just has to be. And so, and then we talked about the idea, because I think you were so done with IVF. I remember saying to you, well, I wrote it here. We talked about timed intercourse. Her impression is her body is doing much better without any meds. And you were really in a state of shock with the mini IVF that it didn't work. And it was like, you couldn't believe it didn't work for you. But then you also said to me, and this was September 19th, 2022, I now believe it can happen naturally. And so
because before that, we had also natural chemical pregnancy. So I thought, okay, something changed in my body, and we can do it.
You guys were on a trip. You went to like Iceland or something, weren't you, on a trip, and you got up, you had a positive?
Yes, it was Iceland or maybe Portugal. I don't remember right now all the track, but I remember our conversation because I was really done with IVF. I was like, when I left the last clinic, it was actually the doctor who said it's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, just go for donor eggs and just close the journey successfully. And then I was okay, let's stop it. I cannot do it any longer. But honestly, 9 egg retrievals, this is really, when I think about it, this is, well, how it was possible to do it so many times. I cannot, I'm just wondering, yeah, I did it. But the point is, I remember the conversation, you were like, you encouraged to start with Clomid. And I was like, well, but how it could happen? We did so many IVFs and it was not successful. And, just taking several pills and it would work. And then I talked to my husband and we're like, okay, let's do it. And the funny thing is, we did it for the first time and it worked.
You got a chemical pregnancy.
No,
right.
It was a pregnancy that we lost at 9 weeks, and again, it was normal embryo.
Normal, that's right.
So during this time, I was like, well, there must be something about immunology. It cannot be that each time we have normal embryos and we are losing pregnancies. There must be something else, because actually during this pregnancy, I also was on some blood thinners.
You were on the whole
baby
protocol.
aspirin. Yeah, exactly. I had even metformin, so it was really like plenty of drugs. And again, it didn't work out. Yeah. So it was, I was completely disheartened.
And I also think like important to point out again to like before she comes, from 2018 to 2020, 6 IVFs. I think 3 got to transfer. She couldn't get blasts. We didn't get any tested blasts or normals, right? That was like never what you could get to. And then fast forward to now, then we started getting, well, we did the day 3 or the day 5 fresh transfer with the twins, and then we know they're normal. And then she gets pregnant again with the Clomid and the trigger, and we miscarry again, and we know it's normal. Then you had a chemical in there before the twins, after the twins.
It was after twins.
It's all devastating.
It was quite.
We both locked it out. Of like, it was like, what the fuck? It was hard. But then it's like the confidence starts to build in this sense of like, okay, these people said I could never do this. I have to move to donor. I'm actually now getting pregnant. So, and it's interesting. She's getting older. Her numbers technically got worse at one point. I think then we had like PTSD. We kind of stopped testing. And then now she's getting pregnant, miscarrying, and we're testing and they're normal. So it just, it's like the timeline is, I think, very interesting. And I want everybody to really understand that too, that like at 32, 33, 34, she's having 0 success with IVF, not getting any blast. Then, 35, 36. Okay, now we're starting to get pregnant. Actually, now we're, and now we're having healthy, we're losing healthy children. So yeah, then you wind up. So who finally says, let's throw in the IVIG? I can't remember that part. Or we were just, you were in our group. I know the IVIG had come up. Like, it was just like, okay, we've tried everything else. Let's try the IVIG. Was it hard for you to get? I don't remember that part.
It was not easy, but actually it was your recommendation. So I just follow it. I knew that when I will be pregnant for the next time, I will just do it. And actually the funny thing is that I had some consultation and I really felt that I got pregnant. So it was like, very early stage. And I remember that I was driving to the consultation and I thought, okay, I'm pregnant. And I was like, well, I'm sure that in a couple of days I will need to do this infusion. So everything was really prepared. So when I really learned that I'm pregnant, I already knew that I have to go at a certain place. So it took a while to get it, because I took it, it was already week, start of week 5. And one of doctors said, well, it's already too late. You should do it. You should do it before ovulation. But well, anyhow, we just did it. And then we repeated 4 times, and well, it was successful. So,
and then like, yeah, so it's like, I mean, you guys hear a baby crying in the background. So yeah, like let's share that. Ooh, are you there? Did I lose her? I'm gonna wait and say, let her come back in. I'm recording. Yeah, she'll just come back in. Other things I want to add is this whole time she's on Chinese herbs. She's on, her organ meat supplements, like, right. She's now a full-blown non-vegan vegetarian. And so I think all of those things too, her red flag symptoms, her iron levels, all of her things are improving over time. And I just want to see, I don't want to miss her coming back into and so I'm looking through our emails right now and I'm going to read to you guys. So, oh, is this, here we go. She's back. Okay. Hi, I knew you'd come back. I knew you'd be back. I just kept talking. I was adding in that, like, during this time, remember we had you on the herbs. I was shipping the herbs. We were shipping you all the things. It's all good. And so I was reading through email. So I let me read everyone the email that you send me, because it's the best. So this is all 2022. And then, yeah, you emailed me November 8th, 2022. You got all your herbs and your medicines from me. And then February, I hear from you. We're getting you on more herbs. Oh, that's right. You were in New York, remember? And I sent them.
It was my husband. Actually, I was supposed to.
That's right. Your husband was there. You were supposed to come. I
was already pregnant, so I was like, okay, so let's. I'm not going to.
She doesn't tell me she's pregnant. That's the clincher. I think I didn't know. And then September 2023, because she'd had these losses. And I think you were also just like, I've been in this path before. I'm not talking about this
I
until
was really scared. I was really scared to tell about it. Even my parents, they learned pretty late. I was really scared.
She emails me on September 28th, 2023. And mind you, we had been emailing and communicating. It's been a while since we were in contact. I think it had been since maybe March or something like that. So it had been like 6 months. And she says, I am now 28 weeks pregnant with a healthy miracle baby girl. This is so real and so unreal. We got pregnant with Clomid and Trigger, and it actually was our second try with these drugs and second natural pregnancy on this protocol. We followed your recommendation. I still remember you saying you have nothing to lose by taking Clomid. It's so unbelievable, especially that we went through 9 IVFs and the last 2 did not even yield any blastocysts. And the doctor said the only option was donor eggs. This time we revised our immune protocol. We added IVIG on top of the heparin, baby aspirin, Neupogen, metformin, steroids. I think that was it. It was not easy and it cost a fortune, but finally we did 4 infusions and it seems it was our miracle medication. I cannot express in any words my gratitude to you. Anyway. And then here you are. You had your baby girl in December, right? So she's 4 months old now.
She's 3 weeks, 3 months and a half. I still cannot believe it, really. After it's really unbelievable that after so many IVFs, after so many years, it just happened I would say in a simply way. It's really, well, it's really difficult to say something. You cannot just express how it feels. It was really worth awaiting for this miracle.
Oh. And I think too, or maybe you can speak to this too now in retrospect, of like, you had an instinct, you knew in your heart, like, and again, like you said before, donor eggs, donor embryos is a brilliant option. It didn't resonate with you at this time, right? You were like, I still feel like this is possible. I don't know, speak to that some, like, because that was what kept you going. I mean, or what did keep you going, I guess, is another question.
Well, I think what really helped me, that actually, I think what is really important, I think, is to have at least one person who believes in you. And the coaching session we had, it was our 6th coaching session. I was checking all the records. So it was in November 22, and it really helped me, because at the time you said, well,
we can't hear
I believe that it may happen. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
So it really made a huge difference, because at the time I was like, I knew that I'm not going to enter any fertility clinic, and I knew I was like, okay, I accept whatever happens. I accept it. So it was also a lot about acceptance, and probably for the first time I was like, okay, if this is not happening, if it will not be my biological baby, that's fine, but I'm not ready yet to move to donor eggs. And let's see what happens. So it was a lot about acceptance, but at the same time, it's really important to have someone who believes in you. So this coaching session, it really helped me
and I think the community too. You were very active in the community and sharing, and that part where you just seeing other women going through it with you. It's like a tribe, right? And just knowing you have a place to go to ask questions, and listen, even some of those immunological treatments, it's like, even where I learn half of my stuff is from the girls, right? Who are like, oh, my doctor said, let's try this, or I tried this and it finally worked, right? IVIG was like a hot topic, I remember, in our group at the time, because there was another one before you, who was in Australia. I won't say her name, but same thing. She kept having losses and would get pregnant naturally. And it was so hard for her to get the immunology. And then she was able to get the IVIG, and she carried a baby boy to term. And it was like, oh, that's fascinating. And so it's almost like, I think being in those circles though, and here and sharing, like sharing lifts the shame, right? I always say that, but if you don't share, you don't get to hear other people's stories or insight. I mean, that's a huge reason why I do these stories of hope, and they're live for everyone to see. It's like, do your research, get the right doctors, get the right team. Don't take no for an answer. Keep asking questions, you know, like, and again, had you gone down the donor route, like, you would have miscarried a donor egg and donor embryo. You would have miscarried it.
I'm
And then
sure of
it
it.
would have been back to square one. And so, and I've seen that on my side, which is why I'm not against donor at any point, but I'm also like, did we look under every rock before we move there? Because you're going to spend a lot of money. And then what if you miscarry them? And I just had a girl to go through it, and, you know, and it's devastating. And so now all of a sudden she's like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? It wasn't, I didn't need the donor egg. This is immunological, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, it is. It's devastating. Everybody's on their own path, and we all go at our own pace. And even for you, you know, I think you did experience pushback from your doctors about medications and things like that. And you didn't care.
Yeah, now I think that it was really a lot of gaslighting. I think that you call it like
Gaslighting.
this. So
That's what it is.
yeah, it was, yeah, everyone was like, you know, okay, we can try, but I don't believe that it will happen.
And then now that you're on the other side too, and this came up in the story of hope I recorded last week with like a similar length of time in history. You know, she was saying too that like time alone with the baby, I think she's a few months, 2 months out. She's you know, it's a lot of like healing that's going on for her now too, a lot of processing the trauma finally. And you feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's a lot of trauma. So well, I will remember all those children. It will not disappear. This is a part of my history. This is a part of my baby. And well, at some point she will learn about this journey.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
it will require some time to process it, to heal it. It's not an easy topic. And well, when we started the conversation, it's also a lot about to really spend time to tackle well all those emotional topics, because it will just, even if you are on the other side, if this is not healed, it will come back. So in my case, it was a lot about self-worthiness. And as I mentioned to you, I questioned a lot if at some point, you know, just after like, I don't know, we're already, it was like my baby, she was like 2 weeks, and I was like, well, I'm not the best mother. I'm doing this in a wrong way. So it's a lot of questioning. So it's really important to work on the emotional side, because even if you are on the other side, it can really well, not maybe kill you, but it will not help. And this is not an easy. So even if there is a miracle baby, you need also to take care about those points, because you need to have a lot of energy for this little baby.
Well, and that's what I said to you before we started recording. Like, I was asking her, you know, she got her thyroid checked and like that kind of stuff, being the person I need to be. And I was, you have to, well, you don't have to, but I think it's important to continue to prioritize yourself so you can be the mother you want to be. And then also, if you decide you want to do this again, you know, that we want to have everything as prepared as possible. And I always say to my girls too, like, and, you know, please be careful. Don't have unprotected sex right now, you know, because you are fertile, and you were told for years you're not, but you're fertile, you know.
But you know, the funny thing is, during my when I was at my doctor 6 weeks after labor, she was like, well, now you need to pay attention, because you cannot get pregnant. You had C-section, so at least 1 year. And I was like, really?
This is
seriously?
like the opposite
you know, for 6 years I've heard that I will not get pregnant, and now she's telling me that, you know, it may happen. I was like, seriously? It was so funny. So, you know, now I'm fertile.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. You're fertile. You're on the other side. And you also know a protocol that works for you. You know, and I mean, I think we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And obviously, you know where to find us if you need that support. But I also feel like, you know, you figured out your protocol. You know what works for your body from a diet perspective, from a supplement perspective, mindset, medications, right? it's exciting. I'm just so happy for you. So,
Yeah, I'm
any final words you want to share with with the listeners?
But what I would say, it's really just follow your intuition, and don't let anyone to tell you what is possible and what is not possible.
Yes.
Because everyone, well, all the, let's say, doctor community, they were like, well, no, it will not happen. Forget about it. So it's really important to find a community which is supporting, and have someone who is really believing in you, because it makes a huge difference. So.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so grateful, Amy, that
Oh.
I had you on my journey. It's I'm really sure that it would not happen without you having in this journey. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I mean, this is the best honor for me when you guys are so willing to come live to the world and share your story. It's like, you know, that's how I think we move things forward, and that's how we educate and empower. It's like they need to hear from you guys. You went through hell. You know, this was hell, and it was hard, and you came out the other side. So I couldn't be happier. I mean, it's why I do it, you know. And sometimes so too, it's like, for me, it's obvious almost sometimes, where I'm like, okay, this is what needs to happen next. But it's also, you have to agree with what I see and believe it as well, right? It was like, it took us having that chemical, you know, and I remember on that trip for you to be like, oh my God, you're right. I could do this naturally. I was like, I told you so. Let's do it, you know. You probably didn't even need the Clomid and the trigger, but like, that's fine. You know what I mean? I think it gave you a sense of something, like you can control the ovulation. I do think you needed the IVIG, you know, and that, but, and you might not the next time around, you know, the immune system completely shifts, you know, and pregnant, you know, we'll see. I don't think if you messaged me in 6 months from now or 10 months from now and say I'm pregnant, I would tell you to do the exact same protocol just to be safe, because you don't need any more losses, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I would do the same.
Yeah.
So now I know what to do.
That's it. You got it. You just have your stash of medicine and ready. Oh, well, thank you so much. And promise me that you'll make sure you take care of you in this process. Okay, baby, you know, baby came through because she chose you as her mama. So you need to be that woman that she saw on the other side before she came through. Okay.
Yeah, that's also important. So that's probably another, let's say, conclusion, that we really need to take care of ourselves when we are on the other side as well.
Oh
because
my God.
that's even more important.
It's more important. Because now, I mean, especially as a role model and as a woman, you know, you're having a baby girl. I mean, there's just so many things, but also like, you know, and you know this too, you lose yourself in this journey. So it's an opportunity to come back to life on all fronts. And that's kind of really nice, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I adore you. Keep me posted on everything. And yeah, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy.
Okay. Enjoy that baby girl. Bye.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Aw.